And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is Friday First. This is that series where we talk about those brand new #1 issues, new character debuts, story arcs, and the like. And this is for books for the first week of September, September 4th, 2024. And as always, I will recap a few of the books that I talked about last week. I will share a few other anticipated books at the end of the show, and we're going to have a good time. So, I do want to put out there that I had put a poll up on the YouTube channel community tab about whether I should celebrate at episode 50 or 52, like in what I should do and stuff. I've gotten some feedback through that poll, some comments, some votes. So thank you for that. Keep voting and stuff. I've got a couple more weeks to decide what's going to happen. But yeah, I'd appreciate any feedback over there. So check that out, because I'd love to just have a good time with you all. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it all goes down, but it's going to be fun. And also a reminder, if you haven't checked it out, we are back to our weekly schedule over on Comic Book Weekly. We had a couple of great shows the past couple of weeks. This coming Tuesday, Kat will be back, and it'll be all three of us again. Got a lot of books to talk about, as always. It's going to be a fun time. So join us over on cbwpodcast.com as well. All right, so let's get into some of the books that I read from last week. I've actually read 7 of the #1 issues so far, so more than usual, but I'm only going to talk about 5 of them. So we'll briefly talk about Amazing Spider-Man issue 56, Legacy number 950, milestone issue, The Return of Tombstone. It was an okay read. I enjoyed the story. You know, obviously referenced a lot of stuff that happened in Gang War, Peter dealing with Randy's relationship with Janice. Is it Janice? Tombstone's daughter. So that whole thing, and then trying to, you know, get the drop on Tombstone. So in this issue, we see basically the epilogue of Gang War play out with Tombstone and Spider-Man, and it looks like things could get a little bit dicey going forward between the two, and also between Tombstone and his daughter. So nice build up and nice follow up to the Gang War story. Even though it's been a little bit since that happened, it was nice to kind of go back to that and kind of wrap some things up from there. So decent read. Next, we have Universal Monsters Frankenstein issue 1. This is from Skybound Image, and this is an interesting take on the Frankenstein story, because in each issue we're exploring where each one of the body parts come from. So in this particular issue, the right hand comes from this kid's father. This kid is mourning the loss of his father. He's at his tombstone, at his grave, kind of, you know, just trying to talk to him, and it gets grave robbed. And so he kind of follows it back, and, you know, he meets the monster, and the hand is there and stuff. So interesting seeing all the pieces literally come together in a very horrific and graphic at times way. So I thought it was a solid first issue for the story. Very interesting, especially if you're a fan of Frankenstein's monster. Next we have, yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about this one. Next we have Chasm, Curse of Kaine, issue 1. And this is Ben Reilly and Kaine back at it again. So we start off with Chasm and Hallows Eve basically robbing people. So still doing the villain thing, but at a very low level. So I was like, really, this is what, you know, these characters have resorted to. They're just robbing random people on the street, and Kaine is back to hunting Ben for whatever reason. That said, as goofy as the whole premise of both of these characters is at this point and everything they've been through, I did actually enjoy the story, because there was this moment of like calling back to all that for Kaine, how he feels like maybe this is just his calling to be his brother's keeper, and at the same time something is happening to Ben. Someone is messing with him, and it feels like it's drudging up all this past stuff, and it kind of gave me a little bit of hope that maybe there's a redemption road for Ben. I'm a big Ben Reilly fan, so I want to see him handled well. So I'm hoping that coming out of this will be something different. I don't know, but it was a decent issue. The next two books that I'm going to talk about surprised me quite a bit. So one of them, one of them I was on the fence about getting, and I was talking to Mike Spiderslayer after Comic Book Weekly last week, and we were discussing whether we were going to get it or not. And I'm like, I don't really usually get this kind of stuff, but because I was a little disappointed with a couple of books I read, I was like, okay, decided to skip a couple. I was like, okay, I'll get these. And then another one he had actually recommended. Neither one of us were going to get it. And then he recommended it after reading it. And I was like, oh, well, that sounds pretty cool. So I ended up getting and reading both of these. So let's get to those. So first one is Aliens versus Avengers, issue 1. This is by Jonathan Hickman and Esad Ribic. So superstar team on this book. I'm not an Aliens fan. Never got into the franchise. Alien and Predator books from any publisher, I skip. Any kind of crossovers, whatever. I can't get into them, right? But being Hickman and Ribic and being all the reasons I said before, decided to give this one a try. And this book was actually really good. It's a really complex story that takes place in the future of the Marvel, a version of the Marvel universe where Black Panther is older. He's got kids that are grown and they're like Black Panthers. They're going through space trying to figure out how to stop this xenomorph infection that is kind of birthed out of this planet where these people were experimenting with different species, and the outbreak happened, and they were using the xenomorph in some way, shape, or form. Not to spoil too much, this happens early on in the issue, and then it kind of spread out to the universe, including Earth. So then we get to see older versions of characters like the Hulk and Captain Marvel and Miles Morales. And I don't want to spoil all the characters that we see here, but yeah, and Earth is pretty much fallen, and this is like the last stand, and different people have fleed the world to find better pastures elsewhere and so forth, and now we get to see if they can finally figure out a way to combat the xenomorphs, or if they have to leave Earth as well. So a really interesting story, interesting take on the Marvel universe, and it really highlights the threat that the aliens can be. So I thought it was a really good issue, and I'm hooked. I'm definitely going to keep reading this. It was the best version of the xenomorphs that I've personally seen. So, and that's as a non-fan, I'll say that. If you're a big fan of the franchise, I don't know, but for me, this was really good, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So it surprised me. And then Venom War Zombiotes. So this was the one Venom War book I was like, nah, I don't need this, right? And then Mike Spiderslayer messaged me. I think it was Wednesday night, and he was like, dude, I ended up getting this, and oh my god, it was so good. And She-Hulk and Hellcat are in it, and I'm like, what? So I had to check this out, right? So I got this, and I read it just before recording this, and it was actually really fun. It was it harkened back to a run of I think it was I can't remember the name of the title, but it was Boomerang and Shocker and Overdrive. It was like the C-level, D-level version of the Sinister Six. It was like a comedic book back in the day. I think it was Nick Spencer that actually wrote that. And it was some of those characters popped up. It was Shocker, Overdrive, and Speed Demon in this issue, kind of trying to relive their glory days as the Sinister Six, which was kind of fun. And they try to do this in the middle of this symbiote breakout. And now these versions of the symbiotes, which Hellcat dubs zombiotes, are basically like, they are like zombies. If they bite you, you're infected. And it's just crazy. It's gory. Hellcat is like going to extreme measures, but you still get that nice banter between She-Hulk and Hellcat. They're best friends. And She-Hulk is just like nonchalant with the villains. Like, you sure, you guys should be like, worrying about your crime right now? I mean, turn around, dude. There's zombies right there, and that kind of thing. Just stupid, goofy stuff, but it was fun. It was so fun. And the art was like really graphic and colorful. So there was like this contrast of like this bright, colorful, in your face kind of art with this gore and like slimy, gooey stuff everywhere and giant teeth, as you see on the cover there. It was just a nice, refreshing read and not something I expected at all. So I actually really enjoyed this book as well. So thanks for the recommendation, Mike. All right, that's it. That's all the books I'm going to talk about for last week. So let's get into the books that are coming out next week. All right, we're going to start off with 4 honorable mentions this week. I think I've got like 12 books to talk about. But the first honorable mention is Conan, Battle of the Black Stone, issue number 1. This is from Titan Books. If you are a Conan fan, you might want to check this out. The cover looks pretty cool. The creative team is Jim Zub, so that's what caught my attention about it. He's the writer. I'm not familiar with the artist, Jonas Scharf. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but this involves a great evil that is looming, and it's they call it an epic new covenant from Heroic Signature. So if you're a Conan fan, if you've been enjoying, I guess, what Titan's been doing with the character, check that one out. Next honorable mention is Star Wars The Acolyte, Kelnacca, if that's how you pronounce that. I have not seen the show. I think it got canceled, but if you were a fan of that and a fan of this character, you'll want to check this out. This is Cavan Scott, who actually wrote Venom War Zombie-Oats. So if you like Venom War Zombie-Oats, you might like this as well. But this is featuring the Wookiee Jedi in his own issue. So again, if you're a fan, check that one out. Next honorable mention from IDW is Star Trek issue 500, IDW's 500th issue of Star Trek comics over all their different titles, I'm assuming. But this has stories. It is an anthology, but it has stories by Chris Cantwell, Jackson Lansing, and Colin Kelly. So you got big star creators that have done a lot of work specifically for Marvel, doing some stories here. Next Generation. So if you're a Next Gen fan, I'm not the hugest Star Trek fan, but I have actually been watching Strange New Worlds, and I've really been enjoying that series. And I did watch a good amount of Next, so the Next Generation, and I enjoyed the movies as well. So there you go. Check that one out if you're a Star Trek fan. And our last honorable mention is the Trinity Special World's Finest issue 1. This is a collection of all the Trinity backup stories in Wonder Woman. So if you hadn't been reading those, or if you haven't been reading Wonder Woman, but you're a fan of this character, you'll check it out. It's basically Damien and John babysitting Trinity and all these wacky things happening to them and her. So it's just these fun adventures. If that's your thing, if you like those, I read a few of them. I didn't read all of them, but I read a few of them. They were fun. Are they necessary? Not really, but if you like the characters involved and you like a little goofiness to your comic reading, you might want to check this one out. All right, first up we have Red Sonja Death and the Devil issue 1 from Dynamite. I always try new Red Sonja books. Some of them are really good. Some of them are not quite my thing, but I always give them a shot, or at least I try to. I don't know if I'm going to give this one a shot or not. I'm not familiar with the creative team, but I don't know. It's a new Red Sonja book, and this takes place, killing the Sultan of Turan has left the nation in a bloody chaos of serpent cults and warring rivals for the throne. And it's all Sonja's fault. So it's kind of repercussions of things that have happened before. I don't know if you need to know any of that stuff, or if you can just kind of jump right into this, or, whatever. But it looks like there's another assassin that's undead that's hunting as well. So they're going to come into conflict. I assume that's the other character on the cover. Sounds interesting enough. Maybe I'll check it out for an issue, but I'm going to give this one a possibly good. Again, not familiar with the creative team, and Red Sonja books are always hit and miss for me. So, but we'll see. Next up from Mad Cave, we have Flash Gordon Quarterly issue number 1. This is a different creative team than the main series. So this is literally a quarterly book. It comes out 4 times a year. And it features different stories from different eras or different versions of the universe, I think. Or maybe it's, no, it just, I'm sorry, it expands on the ongoing series. So I thought maybe it was like doing other things, because it does say it has flash fiction stories. Yeah, wholly original takes on the classic characters. So it does both. So it has some stories that expand on the ongoing series that's currently running, and then it has original takes, different takes on it as well. So the creative team, Dennis Culver and Louis Southard and Jordan Thomas are your writers that are doing stories in this. So I don't know if I'm going to pick this up or not, but I thought it was worth mentioning. I am enjoying or at least I enjoyed the first issue of Flash Gordon, the main series. So I'm going back and forth. I'm just not a huge fan of anthology books, but I'm going to give it a potentially good, just because of my enjoyment for that ongoing series. Next up from Boom Studios, we have Firefly Malcolm Reynolds Year 1, Issue 1. Obviously, it's Firefly, so I'm paying attention to it. Sometimes I wait for trade for these Firefly books, but I'm always going to talk about them because I love Firefly. And this is the first year of Mal, played by Nathan Fillion. So I'm guessing, this is before everything broke down and he got on the Firefly. He's still a brown coat and everything. And this is written by Sam Humphries, which is a writer that I like most of the time. So and it's Firefly. So I'm giving this one a promisingly good. And yeah. I don't know yet if I'm going to. Is this a one shot or is it a miniseries? Does it say? I don't know that it says. That will probably it's $7.99, so I think it's probably a one shot. That's a steep price. I may have to wait on that. I don't know. I didn't realize it was $7.99 comic, so definitely probably a one shot. So keep that in mind. But still giving it promisingly good. Next up is the Autumn Kingdom issue 1, and this is by Cullen Bunn. It's from Oni Press, and that I believe Oni Press is who published The Sixth Gun that Cullen Bunn did. It does reference it here, and the art is by Christopher Minton, who's done Hellboy and BPRD. So if you like that style, but I'm just going to read a little bit of this. In the borderlands between imagination and reality, horror, and fantasy, master storyteller Cullen Bunn and visionary artist Christopher Minton begin one family's labyrinthine descent through a perilous forest where the local folklore is anything but a myth. So that sounds right up my alley. You're dealing with goblins, dwarves, elves, warrior queens, and all that stuff. Just on the verge between all those genres that it talked about. That sounds like a good time to me. And it's, I really enjoyed The Sixth Gun. So when Cullen Bunn is in that area of genre writing, I'm paying attention. So it just sounds good. So I'm going to give it a potentially good. I can't always find the Oni books, but if I can get my hands on this, maybe I'll give it a shot. So okay, I have never read a Marvel Zombies comic. That's not true. I tried one issue at the very beginning. I've looked through others in the past, but I have not actually sat down and read any of them. It was never my thing. The one issue I did read, I didn't enjoy. I think I read it for a podcast I was doing. I didn't enjoy it. Didn't like the whole vibe. Just anytime these characters from this world pop up, it's not my thing. For whatever reason, I just don't like it. But Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay issue 1 has Groot as Patient Zero. So that has caught my attention because Groot as a zombie just sounds interesting to me. And you've got Captain America, you've got Rocket here, you got Sap dripping nose and all it says. It gets really bad. You got the Hulk involved with this as well. So I don't know. I'm not familiar with the creative team either. I don't know for certain that I'm going to get this, but I'm definitely going to look through it and make a decision then. But it's piqued my curiosity. At the very least, I'll give it a possibly good, just because, again, I'm not a fan of Marvel Zombies. I am a Marvel Zombie, but I'm not a fan of the concept for whatever reason. So, yeah. But if you are, you should be aware of this book, that it's coming out, $4.99. Check it out. If you've been watching this show for any length of time, you know how I feel about Black Label books. I don't typically take a chance on a lot of them, but the Zatanna, however you want to pronounce it, one is really good. And you know, some others I've read have been decent. This is a Black Label book, Plastic Man No More, issue 1, and I don't know, just something about the concept sounded fun to me. It seems like a different take on Plastic Man. It looks like it's going to cover like his transformation from this villain, this criminal, the ill, to Plastic Man, but then kind of delve further into it, where it's kind of shortened his life because of the cellular damage to his system, and now he has a kid who may have inherited his powers, and all this crazy stuff. So it's a definitely more serious take. Christopher Cantwell is writing this, and I'm a fan of Cantwell's work. So yeah, I might check this one out, and I'm gonna give this one a potentially good. So yeah, Plastic Man from Black Label. Not a character I expected, but I like that they're doing these kind of things, going with these characters that you don't get to see a whole lot of stories about. So that's another reason it's like, maybe I should check this one out. So, all right, who's still reading Infinity Watch? Again, I'm behind. I'm probably 4 issues behind at this point, but I have them. I'm gonna finish it eventually. I had to include this just because, and because it's also Moon Knight. This is part 7. This is the Moon Knight Annual, issue 1, part 7 of Infinity Watch. And there's this sleepwalking plague, and it involves the Stone Bearers, and obviously with I don't know which one it is that he's tangling with. The Mind Stone. The Mind Stone is the one that Moon Knight is tangling with. The perfect one for Moon Knight to tangle with, because very well experienced with, battles of the mind. And this is written by Dan Waters and Derek Landy, with art by Sarah Pichelli, so it's going to be beautiful at the very least. So, but just because I'm behind, and some of them are good, some of them are a little lackluster, I'm going to give this one a potentially good, because I just don't know what to expect from this one. But I am getting it because I got to finish this story. I've gone this long, even though I'm behind on reading them, I got to get it. So, it is what it is. Next up is Minor Arcana, or Arcana #1 from Boom Studios. This is the new Jeff Lemire book, and it's an interesting concept. So Teresa is the daughter of this psychic who she believes it's just all hoodoo, it's fraud, it's nothing, whatever. Her mom gets sick, so she comes back to the town and discovers that maybe it wasn't so fake after all, and now she has to help this town with the things that are going crazy within it. So Jeff Lemire is writing and illustrating it. So if you're a big Jeff Lemire fan, you're going to want to check this out. If the concept sounds cool to you, it does sound to me cool to me. I'm giving this one a promisingly good. Sounds like something right up my alley. And when Jeff Lemire does hit it out of the park, he does hit it out of the park. You know what I'm saying? So it's like some Jeff Lemire stuff, it's just like, okay, it's decent. Some of it's just really good. And this sounds like it has that potential to be really good for me personally. So we'll see what happens with it. But for me, it's a promisingly good. And lastly, we have Exceptional X-Men issue #1, the latest From the Ashes, A New Beginning, the new X titles. And this is the team I've been waiting for. Emma Frost and Kate Pryde together again. This is by Eve L. Ewing and Carmen Carnero, I think is how you pronounce that, or Carnero. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah. So this is one I've been looking forward to, because when Emma and Kate are together, it's usually gold. So, I mean, obviously it depends on the creative team and everything, but it definitely is one I've been looking forward to for a while, and can't wait to read it. It's definitely not getting ready to head up an all-new team with wayward new mutants while avoiding the watchful gaze of Emma Frost. That's funny. So, and Kate is like a bartender now, so she's like clandestinely gathering this team together, I guess. So that's going to be fun. That's a fun concept, and again, Kate and Emma, that's a win for me. So I'm giving this one a promisingly good as well, and I'm really looking forward to this one. So hopefully it will live up to expectations. And that's it for the ranked books, the first, the number one issues, all that stuff. So let me share a few of the other anticipated. Nobody gave me feedback whether you like this format or not, so I'm going to do this again. We'll see if this works better. Going to run through these real quick. Venom War issue number 2. Enjoying Venom War overall so far. It's been better than I expected. Public Domain issue number 8. It's hiring day. They are putting out the call to bring in some talent. This book has been really good. I just put out a 2-part TikTok, YouTube short on my thoughts on Public Domain and the Domain, if you want to go check that out for my thoughts there. Flash Gordon issue number 2, referenced that earlier in the show. Really loved that first issue. Cannot wait to read the second. The Ultimates number 4, we find out the fate of the Fantastic Four in this Ultimate Universe. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. Uncanny Valley, this is the penultimate issue of the series. So only 2 more to go. Can't wait to see how this all wraps up. Absolute Power issue number 3, Last Stand of Paradise Island. This entire event has been phenomenal so far. Seeing the DC superheroes fight from underneath. It's a really strong villain story, and I like to see like when they're brought down low and they have to fight their way back up, and they're bested at every turn. It's been a fun read. Scarlet issue number 4, I believe this is also the penultimate issue, and it says this issue has it's an enormous game changer for the entire Energon universe. So something major happens in this issue, and I can't wait to see what that is. And then Rook Exodus number 5 got delayed a week. It is out this week, I hope. But Rook got taken down by Ursal, who is now in charge and in control of everything. And Rook, I don't think he has his helmet. All the creatures are coming against him. It's going to be an interesting read to find out how he gets out of that. So one of the best books on the stands right now is Rook. So that's it. That's all the books I have to talk about. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss any of the other content going up on the channel. I keep promising I'm going to start adding more and more content to the channel. I'm just trying to get things lined up so I have the time and the schedule right so I can actually start doing that, because I really do want to do that. I want to start slow, like add 1 more video a week and then kind of, go from there. We'll see what happens with that. I'll keep you posted. But hitting that subscribe and notification bell is the easiest way to keep track of all of that. Don't forget to vote on that community tab. Of course, you can follow me across social media at OnlyGoodComics and type in onlygoodcomics.com in your browser to take you right back to this YouTube channel where we talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care. Keep reading those comics, and I'll see you soon.